The miracle that is human intelligence is an anomaly on Earth. For reasons that are yet to be explained, humanity has vastly surpassed the knowledge and brain capacity of any animal in the known universe. This knowledge has allowed man to become the dominant species on Earth, with creative abilities and an appetite for destruction to rival nature itself. In the 1990s, a theory was published by Terence McKenna in the book Food of the Gods. This surmised that psychedelic mushrooms are responsible for the unexplained hyper-acceleration of the human brain around 200,000 years ago. The theory, as outlined in BigThink.com, goes that as the hunter-gatherer Homo sapiens began to migrate to new areas, they foraged the earth for food. Eventually, they began ingesting mushrooms, and some of these mushrooms were laden with psilocybin. It is theorised that this was the breakthrough that sparked human knowledge into overdrive. The mushrooms, according to McKenna, would vastly expand human consciousness and allow for the development of language. To quote McKenna, Homo sapiens ate our way to higher consciousness. He believed this is what was responsible for the formation of religious ceremonies, art and record keeping which began around this time. This theory certainly fits in with modern science. As stated by LiveScience.com, the chemicals in these types of mushrooms can alter the brain for the better. They hyperconnect the brain together by attaching parts of the brain that do not normally work together. Anecdotally, when people use mushrooms, they can become more creative, which again helps bolster the theory. Early cave painting and art came around soon after the suggested time period. And though there has been little scientific evaluation on the effect of hallucinogens, studies have shown that they make people more sociable, happy, creative and intellectually curious. The Washington Post article by Daniel Miller certainly underlines the plausibility of the theory. Some of the most successful people to have existed on Earth, such as Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, have experimented with microdosing hallucinogens. Many in the business world have harnessed the power of nature to help them excel in their field. The stoned ape hypothesis, though previously dismissed, has gained new ground recently by psilocybin mycologist Paul Stamets. It has also been heavily covered by Joe Rogan on his podcast, which is the biggest in the world.
Well, it's one of the shifts that they think took place that allowed the human brain size to double over a period of 2 million years.
Oh, really?
Human brain size, apparently, I was listening to a Terence McKenna lecture on this once, and he was talking about how the human brain size doubled over the period of 2 million years. It's one of the biggest mysteries in the fossil record. And his idea was that they discovered mushrooms.
Stamets underlines that around 200,000 years ago, the human brain doubled in size for no apparent reason. He believes the ingestion of magic mushrooms caused this. Although this is an as of yet unprovable theory, it is at least an interesting and plausible suggestion. Certainly in nature, animals do ingest psychedelic drugs, including mushrooms. Reindeers, for example, actively source out the fly agaric or fairy tale mushroom as seen in many cartoons, adventure films and computer games. Some even speculate that this is where the idea of magical Christmas reindeers comes from. Whatever the case may be, the hypothesis fills a gap that is yet to be fully explained. It may have been that one eureka moment. It may have been intertwined with a variety of other experiences that propelled the race forward. It may have been nothing.
It's not so simple to say that they ate psilocybin mushrooms and suddenly the brain mutated. I think it's more complex than that, but I think it was a factor. It was like a software to program this neurologically modern hardware to think, to have cognition, to have language. Because language is essentially synesthesia. Language is an association with inherently meaningless sound, except that it's associated with a complex of meaning.
But one thing is for sure, the theory makes sense, and creatures throughout the animal kingdom experiment with hallucinogenics, making their use synonymous with nature. If the stoned ape theory of the past is BS, then it appears that it may possibly exist in the future. Some of the world's best minds have expanded their knowledge through their use, and we may see some brain doubling in the future.